What is up? We are back for episode 3. Actually, sooner than I thought it was going to be. Um, I had to take a short break because exams happened. Um, so it has been a little while, although I wasn't expecting to have this for like another week. So, yeah. How long's it been? I've completely forgotten. It has been... Oh, 2 weeks. 2 weeks. Okay, that's actually better than I thought it was. That's actually a little bit worse. No, that's fine. So it's been 2 weeks. I've only been playing for about another week, to be honest, because I took a week off. So this is going to be dedicated to B7 and runes. So why do you want to get B7? It's connected to runes. It's because B7 is the lowest stage at which you can get 6-star runes, which are the highest star ranking of runes in the game. B7 and Wailing 7. I'm gonna obviously get you into Wailing. Ultimately, it's your choice. I would say they're both good to run in equal measure. You want Wailing 7 is for like the niche sets, like they're good for ones like fatal sets. Um, and then the beast ones are the core ones like strike, ward, and energy. So all of your attack, defense, hit points. They're the main ones, and then obviously the focus comes with that as well. Focus is a really useful one. We'll touch on that a bit later. You're going to want to get some good focus runes. So you're going to basically, I think every single set in the beast. I just need to remember which ones they are because I forget. It's strike, energy, ward, focus, um, resist. Oh, and just resist. That's it. I forgot that there were only 10 sets of runes. I thought there were 12. So, strike, energy, ward, resist, and focus. All of them are good. And the stats are non. So, B7 is the milestone because it's when you first get 6-star runes. It's really useful. The drop rate is pretty abysmal for 6-star runes, but just take them if you get them. So here's my team. My team is Crypt King, Hex, and Whirlwind. I mentioned it in previous episodes because they are all Eon units. So they're here, here, and here. So you get you get Crypt King and Whirlwind from a couple of chests. You should get them pretty quickly. Not chests, summons. So you get Crypt King and Whirlwind, and then when you get into level 50, you get Hex. Yeah, you get 100 pieces of Hex, and then you get another 100 if you finish off Flashing and Gulladilla to 40. So that gets you 200. The 200 puts you, I think it's 45 short of the 4-star if you haven't summoned already. So it's either you get one ticket or you start investing Omnis because you're going to want to try and 5-star Hex and get her to 60 to get this reward. That reward then gets you close to getting her awakened, which is what you want. But I haven't yet. So I got this, but I haven't got enough to awaken her. It's another 50 pieces. It's fine. So Hex, King, and Whirlwind, this is the team. I have put no skill ups into them. Eventually, you're going to want to skill up this skill. In fact, I'm going to do it, but I'm going to run it without first. I'm going to do it on video, but I'll run it without first. This skill is amazing. So you're going to run Hex and Cooking, and you only have a skill 1 and 2, but Whirlwind has a charge skill. You're going to want to swap out skill 2 and put skill 3 in. I'll show you here. So you tap that, and then you'll have it like this. You then unequip this, and you equip that. This skill's amazing. These runes, I'll show you what my runes are. They're overkill. In a second, I'm just going to do the run. This is on full auto. You do not need stats this high. But I want to show you the team running the dungeon first. I'm not going to touch it. It's just going to run. So Hex and Crit King both have a diminished AoE, which basically means they butcher the waves completely. Like they just shred the waves. Once the waves are dead, it took me a minute. For lower runes, it might take you a minute and a half. It's not a problem. If you want to get your 3-star clear and your attack isn't quite enough, that's fine. I would swap in Hex, swap out Hex. I'd swap out. Well, try swapping each of them for Stealth Elf. Stealth Elf should be the other one you've built quite good. So as a strong single target attacker. So try swapping one of them out for Whirlwind, and that will be a good fit. There you go. It cleared it really quickly, and I got a good rune out of it. At this point, now that you're in B7, you want to start selling all of your 3-star and below runes. Just sell all of them. You can do that with this nice little handy feature. If you select all, and just have 1, 2, and 3 selected. That'll then select all of them. So as you can see, I've got that one there that I've just collected from a run of some description. So I can just click and sell it. If I want to sell all of my 4-star greys, which I kind of do because I'm not really going to use them anymore, I can select 4-star and normal, and bang, they're gone. That's the way that you sell en masse. It's really easy. You're not going to want those runes anymore because the runes that you get otherwise are just going to be better. Once we get into like B8-ish, I think it is. I'm saying B8. I think that's where you're going to start getting rid of some of your 4-star runes. Definitely some of your like greens and blues, maybe purples and golds, but we'll see. Just depends how hard you farm as to whether you need any. Because you might get some good ones in here. So I've got quite a few, but you might get some good ones. So I would say sell off your 3-stars. So the runes that I'm working with. So this is Crit King stats. The runes, just pause. I'll go quite slowly, but just pause the video as you need to see the different runes. These two, I know for a fact, these two I got from getting Hex to level 60. They are here. So when you get Hex to 5-star level 60, you get a 5-star premium rune crate with hit runes. 3 hit runes. When you finish off Barbella to 60 and 5-star, you get the 1, 2, and 3. So that is another reason why doing Eons early is really important, because if you put it off, you'll get these runes and they'll be useless to you. Whereas these runes are extremely beneficial in getting you into B7. The rune 6 that I got was a crit damage rune on Stealth Elf. I don't need it. So I just put it on Stealth. A crit damage rune. I don't need it for any of these guys. I'm going to go over why. But the ward runes that you might see, that one there, I know. These two both here. No, not that one. This one and that one. And that one, that's the rune I was thinking of. They are all the ward runes that you got all the way back in part 1 somewhere. I don't remember where, but you got a chest. Here it is. So back in part 1, stage 69, I got a crate of 4-star ward runes, and those are still dotted around my units. So you can fill out most of your thing with just 4-star runes, and the 5-star runes that you get from the Eons quest. And I want to say you get a couple. You're forced to get a couple from B6 as part of part 2. I've already done that. Which quest was that? It was this one. No, it wasn't this one. There was a quest. I can't remember which one it is. I'll find it. Power up a 5-star rune 5 times. So you're forced to get a 5-star rune there. So yeah, just the couple that you get from quests, and then a few 4 stars to fill out, and you'll be fine. With getting a good B7 team. Then runing. This is the most important part of this game. So I would say as a requirement, you want Hex at 60 and you want these two at 55. I think that's a good. You could probably do it at 50 with better runes, but I would say 55 and you're pretty safe. Sadly, I didn't try earlier than when I tried it, I was 60, 60, 55 and they decimated it. It was not even close. So keep that in mind. That 60, 55, 60, 55, 55 is probably fine. The reason I say 60 for Hexes is that's when you get the wall, the hit runes, and you should just have her there anyway. That should be your focus. It's getting her up there, and then you should get her to 5-star with the Eon's quest, the 200 you get from the Eon's quest, and then a few Omnis. I think you need 45 more. So either you can request her a bit from your guild. I said Crit King, but Hex is also a good option. So either you can request her from your guild, or you can do some arena and get some Omnis, or there's a few that you get from quests as well. And there's probably some other ways that you can get some Omnis, like Realm of Souls gives you some occasionally. So Crit King has these stats. I've already gone over them. So I'll go back through because I got sidetracked. So pause through. The key. So runes are done like this. Slot 1 is always attack. Slot 3 is always defense, and slot 5 is always hit points. Flat. So there's two types. There's flat runes that just add a stat, and then there's percentage runes. If I try and find one, I probably won't be able to do it so easily. Here's one. So HP plus 5%. What that will do, as opposed to... Now I'm going to find only percent runes. As opposed to the HP plus 174. So that one will take your base stat and add 174 to it. So the base stat for Crit King is 2697, this number here. It's these numbers are your base stats. Or the white numbers minus the green numbers. So we have... Oh, there's the one right there. Oh, wait, what am I thinking? So we have a HP rune there and a HP percent rune. So this HP will add 174 to that base stat. This percent rune will add 5% of the base stat onto it. Almost always, when you are low level, flat is better. Just the straight adding on a stat. Almost always. So you want on all three of these, I said, okay, so you want on all three of these, attack in 2 and 6 and hit points in 4. All three of them. So there's the attack, and then I've put defense. Defense is fine. Defense works. The attack and the attack, I would say definitely attack in 2, defense or hit points in 4, ideally hit points, and attack or hit points in 6, ideally attack. If you're not surviving long enough, you should put a hit point run in there. That means you're slightly lower level. That's fine. It would mean your runners are a bit slower, but it will get it done. Hex has got a hit point rune. It's a 5-star. That's why I'm okay with the percent. I said almost always. And then I've put an attack and a hit points. And then you've got those 3 runes there. And then Whirlwind has got attack, attack, and defense. I said defense is fine. With regards to sets, if you have strike sets, go for it. If you don't worry. You don't need them. So I've got one on Whirlwind, because I had 4 decent attack runes. They don't really affect that much because it's 25% of a fairly low base stat, so you're fine with 25%. Without it, it doesn't make too much of a difference. For me, 25% of that would be about 350. So it's like an extra rune. It makes a bit of difference, but it's not the end of the world if you don't have it. So there's the rune stats. Now, I said in my first video, and I still stand by it for the most part, I said when you're runing low level, if they are an attack or an expert type, you should put attack runes on them. If they are a defense type, you should put defense runes on them. And if they are a support type, you should put hit points on them. Whirlwind is the first exception to the rule, because her skill 3 costs HP regen, and HP regen, as well as attacks like the one from Hot Dog, it says heals an ally with the lowest current HP when the attack lands. If it just says heals or it's HP regen, it is based off of the character's attack, not their hit points. As a point of comparison, Flashwing's heal says heals in proportion to max HP. So if it specifies, go with that. If it doesn't specify, it's based off of attack. Always. That's even the case with Have I Got Crusher. Crusher's a good example. So Crusher's a defense type. This attack deals damage in proportion to the hit points, but this one, it doesn't specify, so it's in proportion to his attack. So HP regen is important attack, so you want Whirlwind's attack high because that's what's going to give you the big heals and make and keep your team alive. And it means she does more damage and makes your runs faster. So it's really, really useful to have her on both attack if you can. But obviously don't do it if you're getting one shot by the boss. So that's how you should rune these 3. I said focus runes are important. In fact, I'll go through it. So what I'm going to do is now I'm going to take it. So that's B7. That's what you should do for V7. You do not need stats this good. These stats, as you saw in the example raid I did, are just they don't run into any problems at all. I can show you another run. They do not run into problems. It's these 2 AoE skills, and then what Whirlwind's charge skill does, it gives you HP regen, which gives your characters a heal, which is really useful. But what it also does is it removes 1 count of a debuff. And what that means is that, look, I think he's about to do it. So this boss is about to cast Defense Break on. He attacked again before I could take it off. But if Whirlwind's charge gets in rotation there, it will take the Defense Break turn off before the boss attacks. So things like Defense Break get taken off when a boss attacks you. But you can't. But if you have a debuff remove like Whirlwind, it will take it off, and then the boss will attack your Whirlwind at full defense, which can save lives. If a unit gets hit with defense break by a single target, it can kill them, or like bring them quite low. It is quite scary. This one has no problems because it just has so much damage potential. But that's why Whirlwind is so useful. And as I say, I think this is the most worthwhile skill investment in the game. So much so, I'm going to do it now. I think this is in my opinion the most important. To just max it straight out. And what that does is that changes it from a 3-turn HP regen. I've just shown you that it completely decimates this boss with the 3-turn. But in other areas of the game, this is now with a 5-turn HP regen. Your units will never die. So I think that's one of the most useful skill ups in the game, so I've done it. But I've shown you don't need it. But what this will also do is this also reduces the debuff count by 3. So if you're getting hit by, in wailing, you get hit by a lot of different debuffs, this can remove them and make your life a lot easier. You don't have to do this if you don't want to and you want to save them for bigger units. Totally fine. I think it's worthwhile. So in terms of the stats that you're going to want, it's hard to put a number on it. But I would say, I mean, Hex has way too many hit points. Way many hit points more than you need, definitely. I would say, based off of this, based off of where these guys are, about 3,000 attack and about 4,000 hit points on all three of them, and about 1,000 defense, and you'll be doing fine. I'd say as an a roundabout figure of where the entry point for autoing B7. This is full auto. This is, you can just put it on and then go and have a cup of tea, and then 5 minutes later come back, oh, it's done, and then set it off again. And this is quite fast. If your runes are slightly weaker, I would say where I just said about 3,000, 1,000, 4,000 on these three stats, and you'll be fine for all three of them, I think. Which should be more than accessible with the units that I said, 60, 55, 55. You should be more than okay getting those. Perhaps earlier. But yeah, just use the runes that you got from the quests and the few runs of B6 you might have done. You might need to do B6. I am going to say, do not bother farming 1-1 hard. Or 3-1 hard, or whatever hard stages for runes. In my opinion, you will do yourself far more favours by sitting in B5 or B6 for 50 to 100 runs. You'll get yourself way more better runes and way more varied runes than sitting there trying to say, oh, I'll do 1 run of 1-1 hard, then 1 run of 2-1 hard, then 1 run of 3-1 hard, and then go back to 1-1 hard, 1-2 hard, and get some sort 2s and whatever. No. Just no. You're a waste of time, in my opinion. You're better off. I think you're just better off just sitting in B6 for a little bit, get yourself a few runes, and then use the ones you got from the quests and Master Eons to push you up, because you get some ward runes from part 1 quests, you get some 5 stars from doing Barbella and Hex to level 65 star, and you also get some strike runes from doing Kaboom and from doing Wham. Kaboom, Spyro, Wham, Boom, and you get some strike runes here, and then you get some it's energy runes from doing Flashwing, Grilla Driller, Crit King, and Whirlwind. You get the other half of the energy runes. So that's a strike set, an energy set, and a ward set that you got from those that are all 4 stars, and then you just got a set of hit from Barbella or part set of hit from doing Hex and Barbella. Those runes should be virtually all you need, and then some decently leveled units. Again, I haven't done them much at all. Whirlwind's 4-star awakened. I haven't done anything with her. Whirlwind's 4-star awakened Crit King's 4-star +1, and Hex is just 5-star. And I would say, yeah, 60, 55, 55, and you'll be fine there. In terms of so the other focus of this video, this is drawn on a bit. Sorry, I went into a lot of detail in what to do with this team, because this team is really useful and this team's really good for B7 and getting into it for very, very and like quite low level. Like I got my 3-star at about, I think it was like, I don't know whatever level I was last time. I was level 23. So I was level 23 when I got the 3-star, and then I just hit level 24 when I got the auto. That was when I'd built up Whirlwind enough to start using her. The other part of this video, sorry it dragged on, I wanted to go over what all of these stats do. So, crit rate. So we know what attack, defense, and hit points means. Endurance, I'm hoping I went through what knockdowns are. Just, you don't need to worry about endurance in terms of ruining. But if you look there, that 4 is the endurance. If you do enough damage to the Chompy, obviously that's going to kill it. But if you do enough damage to the Chompy, if your attack lands, you'll take a specified number of endurance. When that endurance is 0, the unit gets knocked down and you've got free reign over it. Like it won't attack you. So the only thing you should be worried about is if they've got a really low endurance, that means that if they get hit a few times, they get knocked down and they're out of combat. So you want to try and bring tanks around those sorts of units. In terms of ruining, it doesn't matter. You can't affect that. Crit rate. Crit rate, you shouldn't worry about too much. Stealth Elf is a really good unit on crit rate. Most single target attackers that don't deal an effect like diminish or explode benefit from crit rate and crit damage. However, you need 90 to make it really feasible. And crit damage, all crit damage is multiply your attack power by that much percent. So that would be multiplying it by basic. So if I crit with Stealth Elf, it would be like hitting it with 5200 attack, 5300 rather. But you have a crit chance. The crit chance is affected by block rate. So your crit rate minus the opponent's block rate is how much they have a chance to crit. So for example, if my Stealth Elf attacked my Stealth Elf, 73 minus the 19, you get 54. So she has a 54% chance to crit on Stealth Elf, is how that works. And if she does twice as much as her attack. It's worth twice as much as her attack, basically. Accuracy is the chance that you hit or that you don't glance. If you hit, you do full damage and like the maximum that your attack allows, and you knock off the endurance as specified by your skills. You'll see each of them says endurance -2, endurance -2. Certain units, one that comes to mind is, where is he? Because he should be here. I don't have, oh, I do have in Snapshot. Snapshot does -4 with that attack. So certain units do -4. Most AoE skills do -1. So Hex does -1 with her AoE, but Crit King's a rarity, does -2. So if you hit, you take off that endurance. That's what that means, and you do full damage. If you don't, you do what's called a glancing blow, and you do less damage. That is affected. That's counterbalanced by. Why am I I'm on Stealth Elf. That accuracy is counterbalanced by evasion. So Stealth Elf attacking Stealth Elf, the chance to hit is 95, minus 9 is 86. Don't worry about buffing your accuracy on virtually anything. You don't really need it. Because base accuracy values are really high and base evasion values are really, really low. So it basically means you're almost always going to hit whatever you do with it. The only time I see accuracy runes being used is on certain defense units, like Crusher, that have like an 80 base accuracy. That's the only time I see accuracy. You shouldn't worry about it. You're better off just attack it with attack. Just hit hard when you do hit, which is mostly always. Effect accuracy is the chance to cast an effect. So, for example, diminish. It does not affect, and this is a key point that I got wrong in my early days, it does not affect the chance to cast a buff. It just means the debuffs on an enemy. So it's the chance that when Hex attacks a wave, that she casts diminish to any given member, and that is counterbalanced by effect resistance. You definitely shouldn't go for effect resistance. Effect accuracy can be really useful on these two because obviously effects are diminish. If you get it up to about 120, you'll hit almost every single time on B7. Lower than that, and you'll still hit most of the time, just not always. It's not the end of the world. It can help. Basically, is what I'm trying to say. It helps, but it's not vital. But you will want it later on. I don't know if it's next video. We'll see. But you will want to collect focus runes, or what gives effect accuracy. So that's counterbalanced by effect resistance. Block rate I've already gone over was crit rate, and the block damage is, if it blocks, how much damage does it reduce. Don't worry about this. This is hope sets, which you get from whaling. And yeah, so that one, it's a useful thing for certain units, but for most of them you're not going block, so then it's not that useful. But it can be, but it's not a focus. So it's not something that you should worry about. So the most important stats when you're early are attack, defense, hit points, and to a degree effect accuracy. Crit rate, the way that I say it is, if you can get 90 crit rate on a unit, it's an attacker that does not rely on something like diminish or bombs. And the reason I say that is because diminish and bombs, like HP regen, are based on attack. And so they're independent of the crit. So if you just got someone who just does damage, so Stealth is a good example, Starcross would be an example, Robo would be an example I've got here. There's not many because most of them, like Kaboom, Boomer, Whirlwind's not, because Whirlwind has a HP region based on it. Most of them, the ones from the Eon quests, have something based off of their attack. But those are just a few examples. They benefit from crit rate. If you can get their crit rate to 90, in my opinion, it's better to run a crit set. But don't worry, because attack does fine. I think that covers it. Just want to make sure. Yeah, so I think I've gone over everything. Yeah, I'm pretty happy I have. So that's the team. Build them. You don't have to skill up Whirlwind if you don't want to. Totally fine. She works fine without it. A little bit lower stats than these and you'll be fine. And that's just a general overview of what each rune does and which ones you should focus on. I'll finish off with a run with Warwin's new Warwin's new max charge again on auto, just to show you how dominant it is. Oh, that's the thing I miss. Leader skills. Before you go into any battle, make sure you check the unit. And I just thought of another thing. Good. Make sure that you check the leader skills of the units that you are using, if they have them. So Crypt King here has a leader skill, which does 3% extra attack, which gains 3% extra attack in adventures and challenges. Hex has a duels-based leader skill. Distorted Dimensions is considered an adventure. So Crypt King's leader skill counts. Hex's doesn't, so I'm going to put Crypt King in the slot. The other thing I wanted to touch on was villains. Villains, I don't have him yet on this account because I've been away. But run standard dungeons of Gulper, or whenever you can, whenever you see them. And you should try and get Gulper. And he is the one you should throw all of your eggs into. Not literally. He's the best villain by far. With respect to skill ups, this skill's useful, but once. Other than that, don't bother. But just literally just power him up when you get the shards to, and level him with your blue potions. So I'm currently sitting on enough potions to get up to 31. It's fine, just keep building up. If you don't have him, just chuck Broccoli Guy in, he'll do fine. Or if you want to, Bad Juju's not a bad choice because you can give the attack up or take a hit. So it doesn't matter, you don't need him. I use Broccoli Guy, he gets one shot and he doesn't do anything. So you don't need a villain. If you have one, I would say bring Gulper. If you have him, bring Gulper or Bad Juju or Broccoli or anyone. Just use whatever you have, whoever you like. In fact, just Chompy would work too because he does a bit of endurance damage and defense break on, so he could be useful too. So I would say, yeah, Gulper is the villain of choice. B8, it will definitely be using Gulper. It'd definitely be using Gulper, but for B7 you don't need it. But I just think of, if you have him, bring him. Is all I'm going to say on that. And then yeah, the thing I was talking about, leader skills. You can check a unit's leader skill. It's always the furthest right, so it says leader. So here's it increases the attack power, but Hex's is increases effect accuracy in duels. Not useful here because it's not a duel. Duel, I should have specified this earlier. A duel only means arena and friendly matches. It does not mean guild wars. In the same way that invasion does not mean an invasion is not an adventure or challenge. So the only ones that work in invasion and in guild wars, the only ones are the ones that just say, does this. So for example, I use Starcast, and Starcast has increases crit rate of all allies by 10%, and it doesn't have anything here. It doesn't have anything here that says in adventures or challenges, in duels, or anything like that. It just increases the crit rate. So you only want skills like that. For Guild Wars and Invasion, if you have them. And then Disorder Avengers and Adventure, so I put Crit Kings in. When I'm using this team in Arena, I'll put Hex in the leader spot. So just get into the habit of, when there are some leader skills I still don't know. When you go into when you're trying to use a new team, Make sure you just have a look through and make sure they don't have a leader skill that could be used there when you've got a unit that doesn't have one, or doesn't have one that's compatible. So just be aware of that. I think that's everything. As always, thank you. Thank you for bearing with me on a lot of this. Um, and obviously, if you have any questions, please ask, and hopefully I'll see you next time.